So hi everyone, my name is Haley Pottle. I am the manager for student recruitment with the Institute of International Education for the MBZUAI graduate scholarship opportunities. Really excited to have two of our current students with us right now, Adnan and Abhishek, who are both current graduate students at MBZ, and they'll be answering some student questions today. So before we kind of dig into the Q&A, I'm just going to do a very brief presentation because I know we have students from all over the world who have kind of different levels of knowledge about MBZ at this point in time. So that way everyone will be able to kind of see, the same information. So I am going to screen share here. Awesome. Okay, so you guys should hopefully be able to see my screen. So again, MBZUAI is a really exciting opportunity. It's actually the first of its kind. It's the first graduate research-based AI-focused university in the world. It's based in the UAE, so that's in Abu Dhabi. A couple of notes, UAE is really in a fine position to be able to support the progression of AI as a field, as it held the first AI summit in the world, and it's really an open ground for AI innovations. And the vision for UAE on the national and international front is really to position the nation as a leader in AI. So it's a really dynamic place to be right now. A couple of notes for those who may not be as familiar with the UAE. The UAE is home to actually over 200 nationalities around the world, which is really incredible. Many of those nationalities are represented right on the MBZ campus. So faculty, staff, and students. We have students represented actually from every region of the world, which is really exceptional. Being a part of the UAE really means that you're a part of this amazing international economic hub. Often there can be some misconceptions about how safe the UAE, but really it's one of the safest cities in the world, and it's been rated so for over 4 years. The AI strategy that the UAE has is also reflected in the university's mission and objectives, and it's focused on a variety of sectors. So whether you have an interest in energy or healthcare, IT, transportation, aviation, whatever it is, there's a lot of opportunities to learn and grow in those areas. So again, highlighting these areas, just for sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and skip the video, and I will share this with you later so you can watch it on your own time. So something just to note, if you decide to initiate and submit your application with MBZ, we really support you every step of the application process. So we help you make sure that your application is competitive. If and when you are admitted, we provide detailed virtual orientation so that you are prepared everything that you need to be successful at the university upon arrival. I'm just going to briefly highlight these because again, I will send these to you and you can take a look at them on your own time, but we have really exceptional Board of Trustees members, including Professor Sir Michael Bradley, who joins us from University of Oxford. We have Dr. Li, who is the president of Google China and has served as an executive in top tech companies. We have our professor who joins us from CMU, Carnegie Mellon University in the United States, and who earned a PhD at University of California, Berkeley. And he's really an exceptional figure to lead the university. The provost joins us from University of Waterloo. So for our student who's from Canada, you have a fellow Canadian right here. He has a really exceptional bio that I will let you read on your own time. We have faculty from all over the world who are really exceptional in their focuses of AI, and they're really exceptional to be able to learn and study with. So again, these are some of the sectors and part of the vision that MBZ has, as you can see. So again, depending on what your area of interest and focus is, there's really a space for that. So this is just a little bit of an overview of the program offerings with MBZ. So there's 3 specializations offered. So for the master's and the PhD programs, there's the Master's of Science in Computer Vision, Machine Learning or Natural Language Processing, and the same for the PhD programs. So if you were interested in obtaining the master's program, that's going to be a 2-year commitment. So again, it's going to be 4 semesters for the fall and spring. For the PhD program, it's going to be a 4-year commitment, and that's going to be across the spring and fall semesters as well. So a little bit about the admission criteria. So for the master's program, again, there's the expectation that you have a completed bachelor's degree in a relevant STEM field. We encourage you across master's and PhD programs to have a minimum GPA of 3.2 in order to be competitive. If you are a native English speaker, the English language proficiency requirement is not required, it is waived, but if not, we do ask you to submit those certificate copies, and we ask that they be valid from the last 2 years. So if you have one that you've taken in the last couple of years, feel free to submit that. And then for the GRE, what's great to kind of limit access to barriers, the GRE is not required. It is a plus, but it's something you can submit without. For the PhD programs, for the completed standard kind of track, we ask that you have a bachelor's and a master's degree. However, if you only have a bachelor's degree and you're really excited about trying to go for your PhD, there is an option for that. We would just require you to take the GRE with the relevant scores, and we would also recommend you have at least a 3.5 GPA just to kind of reflect your academic standing where we don't have that master's degree. A couple of notes about other application materials. There is a statement of purpose. The PhD applicants will need to provide a research statement, and there are a couple of recommendation letters that are required. These are typically from a combination of former faculty members, professors that you've had, former employers, supervisors, and upon passing the application process, there is an admissions interview as well as an entry exam. So I'm not going to go too much into this because our current students can probably shed much better light on the student life experience than me, but it really is an international, diverse community. Many students are from all over the world, and it's a really modern and supportive learning environment, and it's a really dynamic place with high-class facilities. As you can see here, these buildings actually right behind you here are the individual apartments that students are living in. So you've already heard me talk a lot about kind of why MBZ is great, the world-class faculty, the scholarship being fully funded, which I'll go into more detail in a minute. Again, top of the line facilities, but it really is an exceptional opportunity. There's really few opportunities that kind of match it. So the scholarship benefits, the fun part. So full tuition and fees are covered by the university. The individual apartment campus accommodation is also included, as well as comprehensive health insurance, which is exceptional. There's also annual round trip flights to and from Abu Dhabi. So we know a lot of our current students will go home for a summer holiday break or for interim times, and that's something that's provided. So again, for the master's program, that's every year for 2 years. PhD, that's gonna be for the 4 years. There's also a generous monthly stipend. So that equates to about 2,100 USD, which converts very generously into the local UAE kind of function. And then there's also no graduation bond. So sometimes with these fellowship scholarship programs, there's a requirement to live or support university after or stay in the country. There's no requirement for that here. We're finding students are enjoying life in the UAE, and some of them will probably decide to stay, but there are also students who will most likely go back to their home countries or other parts of the world. So this is just a little bit of an overview of the demographics for the students and where they're all coming from. So again, you can see wide representation from all over the world. Some of the student achievements that are really exceptional, again, MBZ really supports the full student experience. So if you're interested in participating in international hackathons, conferences, having works published, joining research labs, initiatives, there's lots of opportunities to do so. So these are just a few of the examples of students winning awards and achieving accolades in international spaces. MBZ also hosts very impressive partnerships across sectors. MIT is just one example of an academic partnership, and IBM with a corporate partnership. So again, these are really exciting ways for you to expand your own network as well. This is a QR code. Again, I'm going to send you all this information following the call, but this is a link for you to be able to start your application. So please note that the application deadline is April 30th. It is no fee to apply, so literally no cost to you to apply. I do ask that if you do submit your application, there's a little note about how you learned about the opportunity. Please note IIE event, so that, again, you can continue to stay connected to me so I can support your application process. You know, please let us know if you have questions and things. My email is here. I'll also drop it in the chat. And again, there are these upcoming sessions. Again, you're already here at one today, so you're already doing the right thing here. So again, these are just opportunities to connect with current students. So that is enough of me talking and sharing all of these initial kind of overview of the university and program offerings. So I would like to just pause there as I've shared a lot of information and see if there are any initial questions. And then we'll go kind of into our Q&A with the current students. So feel free to unmute yourself or drop a question in the chat.
I just had a question. So I know part of the application is you need references, and you need references from professors or instructors that you worked with over the past. Like, I've been 10 years removed from university, from undergrad, so getting a reference from instructor that taught me 10 years ago, it's like, I don't know, it's like hard to come by. So what other options do I have?
That's a great question. So I'll do kind of a general answer, and then Adnan or Abhishek, if you have any kind of personal insight of kind of who you reach out to for your recommendations, that would be great. So again, MBZ wants you to have multiple options. So again, they do like to see some kind of academic reference, just so again, they can kind of account for your academic standing. But again, students have also put in former employers and supervisors and those who have supported them in either research projects or other things that they've been involved in. So I would say, definitely having kind of the professional recommendations is fine as well. But Adnan or Abhishek, do you have any thoughts as well from your own experience?
Yeah, exactly. As you said, from the supervisor or from any professional entity where he has worked or done some internships, so that will suffice quite good. One more thing you can do is to add a reference like your university registrar number or certain your university academia number, student affairs number or something like that on your CV in references section. So if in case they want to contact your university about you, so they will have a choice. And on other cases for the references, it's quite normal, like you can go with your professional field supervisors or project managers as well.
Sounds good.
Awesome, thank you. Any additional thoughts, Abhishek, or?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. So since he's been working for 10 years, definitely professional references can do for it.
Awesome. Thanks for that question. Other initial questions?
Actually, I and my friend are planning to apply for the for the university, for the for this university
programs. It's a long acronym. It's okay.
Yeah. That's a quite long acronym. So, and my friend now he doesn't have an access to the internet, so he asked me to ask the question: what if he has a family? Is it possible to apply to submit his application if he has a family, and what conditions for his family? Like, is it a special apartment for those who have family?
Yep, that's a great question. Thank you for raising that. So yes, we definitely welcome students who have a spouse, who have children as well. So there are accommodations that are made for that. So there is not the requirement to live on campus. The admissions team has confirmed to me that they would help support, setting up a individual kind of housing situation for you and your family slightly off campus, as well as the stipend amount changes as well to accommodate for your dependents, for your spouse, things like that. So they work with students on a case-by-case basis, based on if you have one child or multiple children or just a spouse, that kind of thing. So absolutely, that's something that they're inclusive of and that they work with you. So definitely don't let that negate you from submitting your application. They're very much supportive of families, and the UAE is actually a really great place for families to be. And there's a lot of really great schools and resources as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. That's a great question. Other initial questions?
Yeah, just one more question. And I assume the program is not online, is that correct? So everybody's expected, even though I guess hopefully the pandemic will end sometime soon. I assume, we all expected to be in Abu Dhabi to do the program. Is that correct? Like even for the past few years, everybody had to be there to do the program.
Correct. Yes. So again, they provide the annual airfare. So again, there is the expectation they support, the visa process and things like that. So you would be moving most likely late August to start if you were to start fall 2022. Maybe, and so again, there's the expectation that you're there in person. Abhishek, Adnan, maybe you can share a little bit more about if classes have been in person or virtual at this point, kind of based on your COVID pandemic academic learning experience.
Yes. So for the last semester, the classes were almost offline for all the time, in person, classes, labs, and all discussions, except for the beginning part where like on arrival, you have to undergo some quarantine when you arrive from another country. For like the initial 2 weeks, it was online, but beyond that, it was in person the entire time. That's
awesome. Could you share a little bit too about any kind of COVID precautions that are being made? I know that's been some questions as well. Students have been asking, like, are you required to mask in classes, that kind of thing?
Yes. So maintaining social distancing and wearing a mask all the time is like a new normal around the world. So that is the same thing here. Apart from that, as a precautionary measure, students and staff have to undergo PCR tests at regular intervals to maintain a green pass status according to the government regulations here. And that the interval actually keeps on changing about a month or 14 days according to the situation of the pandemic, like the number of cases increasing or decreasing. So yeah, that's overview about it.
Awesome. Anything to add, Adnan, to that? Sounds pretty straightforward, but want to see if you have any additional thoughts.
Yeah, so the COVID situation, as it changes, like if the cases are too much or too many, so basically the government here instructs the universities regarding whether to continue classes online or whether to have classes physically. So right now, since this with the Omicron variant, there are too many cases here in the UAE. So right now, in the second semester, we are having online classes for the first 2 weeks, and right now we are waiting for the further instructions from the government for our third week, which will be coming Monday. So up until that, we have like online classes. So it totally depends on the situation and the number of cases evolving.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great. Great to hear all that information. Other questions from students?
Yep, I have another question, Hedy. And I do know that the last year it was around 80 students who were accepted to the programs. And how about this year? How many students the university is planning to accept for the following year?
Yeah, for fall 2022 admission?
Yep, yes.
Okay, yep. Awesome. That's a great question. So again, the university is a little bit flexible based on the number of students that apply and based on kind of the competitiveness and things like that. So as of now, they're definitely looking to enroll less than 200 students internationally from all around the world for their program. So again, it is a competitive process and program. There are applications from all over the world, but definitely encourage you to not let that deter you. This is a program that we've had many students who apply and thought they would never get in, and they have, and they've had an amazing experience. And it's students that are not just from like Ivy Leagues or fancy universities, but they're from public institutions and they have some work experience. So it can sound daunting when it's, less than 200 students and you have students apply from everywhere. But we've had students come from, very, regular institutions and experiences that have been able to take advantage of this opportunity. So, great.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Awesome. Other questions? One question in the chat asking about food options for students, specifically looking at vegetarian and the campus location. So I can take a little bit about the second question and also let Adnan and Abhishek answer these questions as well. So UAE is a really, from what I know, and the students can share a little bit more from their personal experience, there are lots of options and resources in terms of food. Again, they're very inclusive of different dietary restrictions and needs. So there really isn't issues in terms of finding what you need in terms of food options. The campus is based right in the city of Abu Dhabi. So again, there's tons of resources, things to do. It's actually very close to the airport as well. So again, there's a lot to do just in Abu Dhabi, and they're actually just only an hour away from Dubai, which of course is one of the most prominent big cities in the world. So there's a lot of options there, but again, would love to hear from Adnan and Abhishek to kind of share about your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, about the food. So we have a couple of vegan and vegetarian friends here. So I don't think there would be any problem about that. You can easily get any kind of cuisine easily. And it's very close to the airport, as Haley told. The Yas Island area, which is like the biggest entertainment hub with F1 tracks, biggest malls and amusement parks, is like a 20-minute ride from here. And the central Abu Dhabi city is also like 25 minutes of a ride here. So it's very close. And obviously Dubai is close by as well.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I myself, I'm really kind of foodie person. So I've tried many traditional foods over here. So not only at MBZUAI, but apart from that, there are many nearby the places where you can go and eat, and also try different traditional foods. And specifically, if you are a vegetarian, so yeah, they are available. And yeah, the city is close by to many different tourist spots, and also on one side it's Khalifa city, on the other side it's main Abu Dhabi city. And we ourselves, like when the COVID situation was quite good, so we used to go to Dubai, and it's quite accessible. There is public transport as well as you can go by taxi, so it's quite really pretty accessible. You can go and spend your weekend over there, or just go and come back in one day. So it's quite easy, and you can enjoy your weekends wherever you want in Dubai.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Those are great answers. Other questions?
May I ask a question?
Please.
I do know that there is a kind of two options about the internships. The first option is to stay in the university and do a research, and the second option is to work in industry. Can you explain, please, how the university helps to find like internships in AI companies?
Sure. Abhishek, would you like to take a stab at that? And I can also add to it.
Yeah, sure. So we have career services and counselors here at university who can help you from everything ranging from like building up your resume and LinkedIn profiles to getting in network with industry people. Apart from that, there is going to be an opportunities and internships fair very soon. And as we saw in the presentation also, the university has a lot of connections and partnerships with different companies here in different sectors. And they have a lot of MOUs and ongoing projects, which students can be part of as internships and maybe like later on move on as full-time roles.
Thanks, Abhishek. Adnan, do you have anything to add to the question about securing internships and opportunities while you're a student?
Yeah, so the student affairs and the director of students, they are constantly in contact with the students. They throw us emails, they tell us about any opportunities that are available for us in the summer internships or in the winter opportunities. Also, they do career counseling regarding what to do after when you get your degree and what is the job market like. And they hold sessions basically with different companies and different people from the companies on regular basis. So yeah, that's quite like you will have a quite chance to go for internships and have different opportunities in summers.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Other questions that you guys have?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Is it possible to make a direct transition from master's to PhD after completing the master's degree, like in the US universities?
Oh, that's a great question. I believe that I will double check on that question for you. I'm just going to take a note of it. To my knowledge, because again, it's a scholarship, fully funded opportunity, you would need to apply for the PhD option as well, just because again, it's fully funded there. But I will also check with that question to see if there's, any additional information in terms of saying, you complete your master's and you want to transition to do the PhD as well. So I will check on that. But Abhishek or Adnan, have you heard about any cases about students wanting to do that at this point or anything?
Yeah, we were told like it's an option we can explore. Like during the research is ongoing with our supervisors, so it has a couple of factors. First thing is your how rigorous your research is and how much your supervisor supports you on that track. So obviously it has to be like a top track, and there are multiple judging criteria. And apart from that, so it's like 2 semesters of courses, and then you do the extra PhD level courses and extend your research and different things. So I'm not entirely sure about that, but yeah, it's an option.
So I would like to add on that if I understood the question correctly, so he was saying if you are enrolled for a PhD and after doing your coursework, you want to resume that PhD in the country, or it was the other way around. If you are enrolled for the master's and you want to extend that to the PhD. I didn't get your question actually correctly.
Yeah, when I finish my master's degree in the university, can I make a direct transition to PhD and transfer all of my credits to the PhD?
Yes, so you were asking about continuing that PhD degree
Yes.
here at MBZ.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it was during our meeting with the provost, it was told by him pretty clearly that yes, there is a chance, there is a choice for the students. But given this, as Abhishek said, that you will have to defend that by your research work, that you are good, you are on such topic that you can publish 2 to 3 papers or conference papers, and you have your supervisor supports you in that cause. So yeah, definitely, for sure, it's an open choice for us as well and for the prospective students as well.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Yeah, thanks for those responses. We just had a question in the chat that came through asking about how many students applied last year, how many of them were accepted. So again, kind of from what I noted earlier, so they did get thousands of applications across 80 countries last year for MBZ admissions. And again, it was just a couple hundred students that were at that were admitted to the university. So again, it is a competitive process. But again, we've had students from all walks of life and backgrounds and countries that have been accepted. So the university definitely has a commitment to having truly an international global community with students from all over the world. And we've had students who have come straight from a academic experience, having just obtained a a bachelor's or a master's degree, and also students who have been in the workforce for a while and who are coming to get their academic experience completed. Great. Other questions at this point? We also have some questions that we can ask as well, but really appreciating getting direct questions from you guys of what's going to be the most helpful for you all. So keep those questions coming, and we also have some we can ask as well.
Haley,
Yes.
I have a question. Are there any representatives in the university with whom I can contact according to my application? Because to be honest, I almost finished my application, but I'm not sure if my statement of purpose is strong, or like I have some doubts about my application. That's why I'm not submitting it. So yeah.
Sure. Which country are you from, Farhad?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan? Okay, amazing. So I'm going to drop in the chat. We have have you connected with Shahru at all yet with the recruitment team? Okay. So he's going to be a great person for you to connect with on your application materials. So again, we have coordinators in each of our target regions who again support the application process. So I would encourage you to connect with him. It sounds like you already have his information, and he can kind of help in terms of looking at your personal statement and those aspects to make your application competitive, since he's your point of contact. Shahru also has the contact information for current students that are also from Kazakhstan and your area of the world as well. So I'm sure he can also get you in touch with them to be able to kind of compare kind of how their application process was as well as with you. I'll also make a note for you, Farhad, you weren't at the info session yesterday, were you?
No, I wasn't, but they sent like maybe 1 hour ago, they sent a video from the video session. So I'm planning to watch this video. And
Perfect.
actually two of my former colleagues, now they're students of the MBZUAI University, and maybe I will send them my SOP too.
Yes, I think that's a great idea, because again, definitely watch the session. We had a current student, Abubek, who's from Kazakhstan, who was able to share some really good insight about how she made her application competitive as a Kazakh student looking to go into the program. So I think that will be a great resource for you, reaching out to your contacts already there in Shahru, because again, it takes a village for these things, right? It's always helpful to have another set of eyes on your essays and things, just to make sure everything looks good. So definitely encourage you to seek out all these resources, and again, also submit when you're ready, because again, there is some time before the deadline, but obviously the sooner the better, of course. So encourage you to do all of those things, and I think all of those individuals would be happy to kind of support your application materials. Great. We're getting some more notes and questions in the chat. For those who are watching after who don't get to see the chat, Abhishek made a great note about their opportunities, not only in the UAE in terms of kind of going back to those internships and career development opportunities. They've had some openings from the UK, global research institutes. So there's definitely options out there if you're wanting to expand beyond the UAE. Another question that was brought in the chat is, if I finish my bachelor's in the university with English, do I need to pass, you mean like pass an English proficiency test? Bigasha, I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. I'm so sorry. Oh, so it's the English language proficiency. Okay. So if you are a non-native English speaker, you do still need to submit the English language proficiency test. One of the notes as well is, again, if you have kind of that university in English experience and things, there is the option to submit your application and note that you will, submit the proficiency test results and things later. And they'll, the admissions committee will work with you on that. Another note as well is, if you have results from the last couple of years, you can submit that. So for instance, if you took the exam like last year or the year before, you can submit those with your application. Those are still considered valid as well. So if you've taken it recently, you don't need to worry about taking it again. You can kind of submit it with that application. Another note or another question from Raza: does MBZ accept 3-year bachelor's degrees, or have you met any other students with bachelor's degrees that were required in 3 years? Abhishek or Adnan, do you have any thoughts on that? And I'll also answer.
Well, in my knowledge, I haven't met such student having 3 years. Maybe there will be, but it's not into my knowledge. Yeah, maybe Abhishek knows about it.
Yeah, neither have I met or I'm unaware of such student, but definitely I think student affairs can answer that thing better. Admission office can answer that thing better.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons for the notes on the admissions, it really is just having a completed bachelor's degree. So if you were able to complete it in 3 years, that's fine. It just does need to be like an accredited completed bachelor's degree. So again, if you were able to complete that earlier based on your kind of country's academic system, that should be fine. But I would definitely, check with admissions. I'll drop the link in the chat for the admissions website link, so you can kind of take a look at that. But again, I would say that it's most likely fine, as long as you actually can prove that you have that completed degree. And I'll also drop the email for those who are tuning in. It's admissionsuai.ac.ae. So I would say most likely, yes, that should be fine. But again, that would be good to verify with the admissions committee. Great. What other questions do you guys have? Farhad, yeah?
Yes, okay. There are like 3 steps of admission. The first is like the application screening. The second is like the test, and the last one is the interview. And do you have any statistics of what step is the hardest for the applicants? Let's say like at the beginning it was like 2,000 people, and after the first step, maybe like 1,000 people left, and after the second step, after the test, like 500 people left. And do you have such kind of statistics?
Thanks for your question. And Abhishek, Adnan, please correct me if I am blanking on this, but I believe the process for the admissions is the application, and then if you pass that step, you'd be invited to interview, and it's following the interview that you would do the entry exam. Am I getting that correct? Or is it the entry exam first and then the admission interview?
Well, for some students, it was first interview and then the test. Right now, I was engaged with some prospective students, so they had initially the test, and after 2 or 3 days, they had an interview. In my case, I gave interview first, and just right after the very next day, I had a test. So based on my experience, I would say they will accept or reject your application based on all of your scores from the interview and from the test. So once you are done with all those steps, of course, first of all is the eligibility criteria. So if you pass that eligibility criteria, then you will pass through the test and interview. And then after that, after they calculate your score, so they'll respond on your application. And in my experience, like you need to prepare if you are a master's student, so you need to prepare quite good for the test, and the interview is quite like if you know much about your field, so then you'll be good to go. Like if you are enthusiastic and you know about machine learning, for instance, or computer vision or natural language processing, to which field you are applying. So of course, if you do your test good, so that means that you are quite familiar with the basics and foundations of that program. So you will good with the interview, as my opinion.
Awesome, thank you. Abhishek, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so the order is not necessarily the same. Like Adnan said, I had the test first and then the interview the next day. So I think both the things are handled by different set of people. So the order can vary, but yeah, all the things, both scores matter equally. So yes.
And just to address kind of the second part of your question, Farhad, the kind of process, since Adnan and Abhishek kind of succinctly answered this, so it is kind of in tandem for the entry exam and the admissions interview. So again, all I can kind of share that's public is that we do get, thousands of applications internationally, and then we have the, entry being typically less than 200 students. So again, they definitely will have, they're basing the interviews and the entry exams on people who are, competitive and have the, who meet the requirements for eligibility and everything. So most of that's not really public information, but it is helpful to know that kind of the entry exam and the admissions interview are kind of assessed in tandem with each other.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
Sure. These are great questions. These will also be really helpful for those who are tuning in and have these questions as well. So thank you guys for these. Other questions that you have? Well, we have a couple of questions I'd love to be able to ask our current students. We just have a few minutes left of our time today. So I'll just go ahead and ask one that's more kind of based on the, we've heard a lot about the application process, but would love to hear a bit about the student life experience. So would love to hear from Adnan and Abhishek, kind of what are some of the top highlights and experiences that you've been able to have at MBZ so far? That could be about the courses or the faculty that you're working with, or just the community you've been able to build. What are some of the kind of top, most impressive or exciting highlights for you and your experience at MBZ so far? So Adnan, if you want to kick us
Sure.
off.
So the environment over here overall is very supportive, like the administration staff and also the faculty. They're quite supportive, they're friendly. You can approach them at any time. So it's like you'll feel like home after coming here. And also to comment on the academic perspective, so the course catalog, I would say it's pretty specific to what you want to do. Like if you want to go for computer vision, so you will have specific courses to those from basics to up until advanced level. And apart from that, you will be able to choose some elective courses. So if you want to expand your horizons, in case if you want to also take some courses along with computer vision, some courses from natural language processing or machine learning, so you will have an opportunity to choose from those as well. So there's something like not many universities offer such specific to generic level courses. So it's totally upon you what through which track you want to go for your professional career. And yeah, apart from that, the overall environment is quite good. Like the students usually have interaction, there are different events arranged, so you won't feel like bored and you won't be stuck like with the burden of study. So they do their best to offer the best environment for you to evolve and study in a good environment.
Thanks, Adnan. Abhishek?
Yeah, I would like to touch upon more about the extracurricular life here. So apart from the academics, there's a lot of clubs, including the reading and mental health and arts, sports, and then there's the language and culture exchange clubs. So we often have like regular events and meetings, which can be with brunches or dinners, or maybe evening games. So yeah, that's a regular thing for stress release among all the research and strong academics going on. Apart from that, there is a lot of competitions like hackathons and stuff where students regularly participate. So yeah, there's a lot.
Love that. Thank you guys for answering that. That's really great. Would love to hear also as well, just we've heard a lot of really great things about the International Day at MBZ and how that was a really exciting event that current students were able to be a part of. It really highlighted the international culture. So could you guys share a little bit about that experience for you guys? Because I know that was a really prominent kind of student life event on campus.
Yeah, so regarding the International Day, we experienced different cultures, we developed different strong bonds with other students and faculty as well. Like all the people, they joined with so much enthusiasm. And we were able to know about different cultures, their food. Like I myself, I came to know about different traditional foods like Indian, Turkish, and so on. So also we experienced different kinds of dances, music, and also it was pretty much good experience to know. There were different cultural presentations and also different kinds of games that we enjoyed. So yeah, it was a totally diversified event, which from which the key takeaway was to know about different cultures and get involved with them. And yeah, I myself, my horizons of knowing different cultures just broaden out by that International Day.
Do you have anything you wanted to add, Abhishek? Sorry.
Yeah, I think Adnan covered almost everything, but yes. So on campus in the cohort right now, we have like, I think 41 or 42 nationalities in students only. And we interact with most of them almost every day on a regular basis. But on the International Day, we got to experience their cultures firsthand with the traditional food, the dresses, traditional decorations at the regional booths. And then there was regional games and cultural performances. So yeah, there was something like an event class apart in the spirit of tolerance.
Love it. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. It sounds like a really amazing event. And there is a video that highlights the International Day experience on MBZ's YouTube channel. So definitely encourage you to check that out if you haven't already, to kind of see what that was like. I would love to hear maybe a little bit about, I think we'll maybe do like 2 more questions before we wrap it up for today. So I'd love to hear a bit about like what life is like in the UAE for you and living in Abu Dhabi. And if you have any kind of insights to share about living on campus and again in the kind of greater Abu Dhabi UAE community. So either one of you guys can go ahead.
So first thing that I experienced here coming was the hot and humid weather. That is one big shocker for me, because the moment I landed, my glasses were fogged, like right out of the flight. So yeah, that was something. And apart from that, the social exposure, the cultural inclusiveness is really great here. You don't feel away at all. And in the daily life, there's not much that you feel like homesick or something like that. But maybe that depends on case by case on a person. And the life, or the overall life in UAE is really great. Like we have the entertainment hub right next to us. Abu Dhabi and Dubai cities are just a drive away. So yeah, the life is really great on campus.
Yeah, just to add to that, so I would say that UAE is full of opportunities for the students. So when you come over here, when you start studying, so you will have different kinds of opportunities. For example, internships, as we talked about, hackathons, different workshops and seminars to organize yourself, to know about students from here and students from all other universities as well in different workshops. And also if you started developing on your student career, and if you want to jump into professional career, so also there are many opportunities. Even the university provides like different startup opportunities, and the overall environment is like there are many job opportunities. And in the diversified way of cultures, you can really explore more. And also one more point I would like to add regarding the life in UAE, that there is no compromise on health. Like as Ali mentioned as well, that here it's one of the safest city in regards of for health as well. So yeah, in the university and out of the university, they do take care of the public health as well. So that's why that's few things I really like about UAE.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for answering those questions. We're gonna wrap up for today. So I think just the last question that we'll ask for today is just hearing, you know, again, these are prospective students who have either initiated their application or are looking to. What would you share with any of these students who are here with us today or tuning in later, who's thinking about applying but maybe feels a little bit intimidated or unsure? What advice or insight would you share with them?
So I would recommend to get in touch with MBZUAI students. They are on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and different social platforms. Just search for the MBZUAI keyword and you'll find many of those students. You can reach me as well. So whatever is your fear, just talk with them, talk to the people. So here all the students are quite supportive. They are open to the discussions. Also, you can reach out the admissions offices and you can email them. So they would be readily there to answer your queries. And yeah, I would recommend it's everyone should give it a try, at least give it a try with full potential. So it's worth trying. And I, being a student, I encourage you to go for it. And in case if you feel any doubts, so there are many people out there who can help you out. So reach them out, take a step.
Coming to the thing, when I was looking for applying to higher studies, I was a bit conscious about the same thing myself. But then unless you step out of your comfort zone, you don't learn and grow. So I definitely suggest you to put yourself forward and apply here. And like the application doesn't come with a cost and brings you a lot of scholarships. So yeah, there's nothing to lose. You should definitely try for it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Adnan and Abhishek. Let's give them a big round of virtual applause for taking the time to be with us and share their insight and advice as students look to apply. Really appreciate your all's time. And for prospective students, thank you so much for attending and asking all of your really thoughtful and great questions. I will be following up with an email later today for all those who registered with the slides today, the recording, as well as resources for your application process. Please feel free to reach out to me. Again, you have my email, you've registered, you'll hear from me as well. We're excited to support your application process and hope you all have a great afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are in the world, and hope to see you all at MBZ. Thank you guys so much. Hope you all have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.